don't cheat yourself. Work to the extreme,
Yes.
Compete. I think a lot of players nowadays all have technical ability, but a lot of players lack the ability to compete.
Take Maurice for ransom.
On this episode, we had Alex Rapo. For months, Alex was out due to a heart condition. How did you kind of build up your fitness, build up your strength, build up your soccer ability back from not being able to play for 6 months?
Yeah.
Alex talks about why he chose a D3 route. I know you were looking at a couple other D1 schools, but Babson's actually what he chose. And I feel like a lot of people would have been like, oh, maybe it's D3. Like, why would I want to go to D3? And finally, Rapo shares his advice for any players who are dealing with hard coaches.
I knew I was working hard. The numbers proved it with the vest on the back. Sometimes it's not all about the game. It's about opinions.
BenzBoots POD with my boy Alex Rapo. Alex, thanks for being on the podcast.
What's up, Hayes? Appreciate you.
Of course. We actually just went out to dinner. That's why I'm kind of dressed a little fancy.
Yeah.
What did we have? Some sushi?
We got some sushi down in the South End. So
yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it. All right. So so can you kind of tell us about your journey of getting to where you are now?
Yeah, so I mean it's a long one.
Yeah.
I started playing very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
I played for the Boston Bolts up until I was 13, 14 years old at the center back position, and then during one of our games against the New England Revolution, I got recruited there. Yeah. So I joined there the U15 year, then with you.
Yeah.
And we went on a run.
Yeah, we were good, bro.
All the way down to the semifinals, and then I've been there since. So it's been pretty good, but yeah, a long one.
No, for sure. And so, I mean, this is going super back in time, but even before Bolts, were you just playing like town and rec and stuff?
Yeah, so I played town a lot.
Yeah.
And then I played for NEFC.
Oh,
for
really?
Like 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I transferred over to the Bolts. And
so how was the Bolts? How was that experience?
The Bolts was great. I had Rhys Joseph for a couple years, and then that's where I met a lot of my buddies like TJ Koholi and Olger and Enzo and Henrique.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And then my second to last year there, I got transferred to Dan Cowell, who became our coach.
Oh, nice.
He pushed me a lot, so that was great.
And then you got recruited to Revs, and can you kind of talk about that process and how that kind of looks?
Yeah, so obviously, as you guys know, the Revs and the Bolts, huge rivalry.
Big rivalry.
Especially before the COVID years.
Yeah, for sure.
So we actually ended up playing against them in the stadium, and we were losing 6-1. And Kurt Onolf, who's now the sporting director for the Revs, happened to be at the game, and he had happened to tell the coach at the time that was there at the Revs that they had their eye on me for a while and that they wanted me over there. So I made my way over there the following year, which is my U15 year. And then that's when actually Rhys Joseph became our coach. And it was funny because at the time, Rhys was my Bolts coach, but then he left and went to Grenada for a couple years. And then COVID hit in March of that year. And then basically Rhys and I started training, and then I got a call up from TJ Love around February saying they wanted me on the team next year.
Yep. And
then Rhys ended up getting a call that he was the head coach. So while he was living with me, he ended up becoming our coach as well.
Nice.
So then from there, he got recruited, went up, and then now I have Brad Knighton as my coach.
Yeah.
Great coach.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
And so can you kind of talk about the experience of can you really go deep into how it was changing the environments from Bolts from Bolts to Revs?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there's 3 big things. The first one's definitely the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
You're in these crazy facilities. The second is definitely the coaching.
Yeah.
I think at the Revolution, you get a lot like higher tier coaching.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And alongside that, you're practicing a lot more.
Yeah.
It's a lot more intense. They have the GPS vest on you, so it's all about hard work.
For sure.
And they're really, really on you.
Mm-hmm. And
then the third one, I think, is just honestly being competitive. I think the guys around you are a lot more competitive at the Revs than they are at the Bolts.
Yeah.
Especially at a younger age.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
No. So one thing I'd also add to that is, I mean, I've been at both organizations as well. Kind of the flip side though, because Revs first and then now Bolts. But it's a few of the things that I've noticed is just like the professionalism. It's just like at Revs, I mean, everything's kind of free. You get free cleats.
It's a different level.
Like there's more ball. Like there's the little things that like you like
that matter.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
No, 100%. Like the free cleats, the free jerseys, the free trips.
It's cool.
Yeah,
so.
it's definitely a cool experience for sure.
Yeah.
So
and so you kind of mentioned that Rhys Joseph. I mean, that you were training with him in the morning. So can you kind of talk about some of the things you guys did and how that kind of helped you?
Yeah. So actually, myself,
I was
Jamie and Olger, they actually all lived with me during the COVID time.
Yeah.
It was like 7 months off or something like that.
Yeah.
And starting in March, the first day he came back, he would train myself and my brother at first at 6 a.m, and then he would train us later in the evening again. And we did that every single day up until preseason started for the Revs.
Yeah.
So as the weather got better, because it was still snowy and rainy all in March, the boys started to come around, and that's where we started to bond with the team and get the Revs U15 team together, which I think was a big thing as well, because we had so much chemistry that year. I think that's why we went so far.
For sure.
So obviously everyone's staying at my house and then training in the morning, going to Boston, and then coming back and training again.
I
think that was a huge thing as well. Definitely a core memory.
For sure. But, and I mean, also like that's kind of how we became friends.
Exactly.
So Anthony's in the back, but like how we all became friends is just like through training together. And that's also why I think soccer is so cool. Just like being able to go to the field with your friends and
100%.
train, it really builds that bond, you know?
Yeah, the ice bath bonds.
The ice baths.
Yeah. I think that was a big thing as well.
Can you kind of talk about that? So why do you think that Shari made us do ice baths? So can you kind of talk why you think he made us do that, and if those kind of help at all?
Yeah, no, 100%. So those things were hell. Excuse my language, but
no, they were though.
Yeah, he bought my garbage can, like he put outside. And he would fill it with, I'm not even joking, probably 100 pounds of ice.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was like 10 bags of 10 pounds, whatever. And he would force us to all go in it for 12 minutes, which is nuts because my body's numb by 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So he'd make us do those twice a day. And I think that honestly brought us together as well.
For sure, yeah.
Just because, they hurt. They're painful. And, but they do benefit you, 100%.
Exactly.
Especially training that much. I've never been more fit in my life.
Right, yeah.
And my recovery was very, very well. But alongside that, we had a lot of core memories with that. Shout out to Luke Churchill and Kevin Medina and all those guys. When Shari had us carry an inflatable pool, were you there?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I think I'll toss up the clip of that. Maybe not the clip of Churchy, but maybe I'll toss up like a clip of like some of the
ice bath. But funny story real quick. Shari had bought an inflatable pool, and there was maybe 6 or 7 of us after practice, and we were like, let's go, no ice baths, because the garbage can had broke. And Shari goes, nah, not so fast. He had bought a mini pool that could fit maybe 7 or 8 people. Huge. So Shari had an Escalade at the time. I think he still probably drives it. And he went to the gas station. We filled it up, and we were holding.
I remember this.
3 miles just holding the pool. It was awful because the wind
above
was
the car.
blowing on
You're
it.
Above the car. Yeah.
Above the car holding it. And then he made us go home and take an ice bath, and then that's where someone had a nice cry during the ice bath. And
we're not going to mention who
not going to mention. But it was definitely a lot of fun. But
and I think that also like the mental aspect of it, because like thinking like it's adversity that you have to face, right? Like you have to just kind of, what are the words? Like delay your gratification almost. It's like that right now it's gonna hurt, but you're gonna go through the pain. So you can have
100%.
Right?
We were like 13 years old at the time too. So going into all of us at the age of 13 we go jump into a freezing ocean. But jumping into a freezing ice bath is a thing where it's like, oh my god, especially after practice, you're tired.
Yeah, you're tired.
It definitely is a mental thing,
for sure.
So
So I think we'll kind of get back on track talking about your recruitment to Babson, because that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
And so can you kind of talk about that? Because I know you were looking at a couple other D1 schools, but Babson's actually what you chose. And I feel like a lot of people would have been like, oh, maybe it's D3. Like, why would I want to go to D3?
100%. So at a younger age, I've always wanted to play Division I soccer. I mean, I think that at first I viewed the hard work of training every day and getting up on those early mornings when I was young and missing
the 5:30s.
Yeah, the 5:30s and missing the parties late at night. But that's what I thought. Let's go play Division I and make that work pay off. But I think the biggest thing for me was that I knew I wasn't going to become a professional. Especially as you get older, you realize how small the margin is. I mean, out of everyone that we've both played with, there's probably only one or two kids that are signed right now.
Right. Yeah.
And
you play with some like high caliber players.
Yeah,
right?
high caliber players as well. And I mean, we've been playing soccer our whole life.
Yeah.
So you realize that margin of becoming professional is super, super small.
Yeah.
So I started to realize that, especially when I joined the Revs.
Yeah.
Because you could obviously tell who was going to become a professional.
Yeah.
By the treatment and just how good they were as players as well.
That's fair. It's so fair.
So I knew during my freshman year that I should start reaching out to Division III schools.
Yep.
In Division I knew they couldn't talk to me, but
So
how it kind of worked out was my first Division III school was NYU.
Nice.
I wanted to get into Stearns.
The business school, right?
Yeah, business.
The
correct.
business program.
Yeah. My older brother goes there.
Okay, nice.
So that's where I sparked my interest, and then I ended up talking to Kim Wyatt there.
Yeah.
Everything like that. But then my junior summer, I was at a Brown ID clinic, also looking at a Division I school, and that's where I met Coach DeVito, and he was my coach for my team during our when you get separated.
Oh yeah.
So I remember walking in with him onto the turf field, and I asked him who he was, blah blah blah.
Right.
And he told me he went to Babson. I had no clue what Babson was.
Right, yeah,
he coached at Babson. I had no clue. He goes, "Oh, it's in Wellesley." I'm like, "I live 10 minutes from Wellesley.
Right, yeah.
I've never seen the campus. What is this? I know the country club, but I don't know the campus. Never been to that country club, but yeah." So he ended up following me on Instagram halfway through the clinic, and I was like, "Oh, this is dope." Babson.
How long was the clinic?
I think a couple days.
Yeah.
I was there with a few guys like Zane Matraji and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But he ended up hitting me up and was like, "Oh, you should come check it out, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So we ended up getting in touch. He watched me a couple times.
Yep.
He actually watched me up in the New Hampshire Dome where I'm going this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, as well.
Oh, I actually remember that.
Yeah.
Is that when I was playing with you?
Yeah. So we're going up there actually tomorrow, 7 a.m. in New Hampshire. But so that's where I met DeVito. And then we ended up talking from there. And then I was talking to another school as well, Providence.
Yep.
And time came around, they brought me in for an unofficial.
Yep.
And I fell in love with the campus. I was like, "Oh, I want
Providence.
Providence,
Okay.
correct." And I was like, "Oh, I want to go here so bad.
Yep.
This is such a dope school.
Yeah,
Soccer's
yeah.
great. Coach is beyond nice.
Yep.
And Coach Stewart and Coach Dave, and all the staff.
Yeah, for sure.
So they came to watch me in Arizona or California. I'm sorry, because Arizona was this past year.
Yeah.
And they ended up telling me that they wanted to provide me with an offer after
Nice.
they see my semester 1 grades of my junior year.
How are those grades?
They were good.
Okay.
They got approved. They got approved. So
Nice.
So basically, I was like, "Oh, I'm set. I'm gonna go to Providence. Great Division I program." I mean, I told my teammates, I was like, "This is sick."
Yeah.
Also considering a few of my teammates are there already. My former teammates like Alexi Corrales and now Esteban.
Yeah,
Chino's
Chino's
gonna be going there, and Chavez and Carney.
Wow. Damn,
So-
a lot of Revs kids.
Yeah,
are
a
going
lot of
there.
Revs kids. So I was set. I was happy.
Yep.
But then it actually came around where my mom ended up finding out about Providence and then found out about Babson, and I was speaking to Babson as well.
Yep.
And that's where it kind of clicked of, oh, I mean, I'm not going to be a professional. So I've always had an interest in business.
Yep.
And I viewed Babson as a great business school, especially seeing after the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
I
think it's one of the best schools for entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
right?
entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
Right.
it's 30 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Number one.
I saw
So
that.
that's obviously great, and
Yeah.
I have a few friends that go there as well. So they ended up talking to me. I called DeVito and I was like, "Hey, Providence provided me with an offer. They gave me this short amount of time. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts?" Because especially as a Division III school, they don't really commit kids as early.
Yeah.
I was still not even finished with my junior year. So I called DeVito, and then he talked to Tim, who I met later, and then Coach Anderson as well. And they brought me in, and they said they'd be more than happy to provide me with an unofficial offer, because in Division III, you have to get into the school.
Oh, yeah.
Before it's I think Ivy Leagues are like that as well. So they were like, "All right, you got to finish this year with no C's, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, this pressure. I thought I was done with school."
Right, yeah.
So I actually ended up not taking Providence and going with Babson.
Wow.
Which I'm beyond happy with. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me with Babson was the coaching staff. I became really close and still am very close with DeVito and Tim.
Yeah.
Great guys, great coaches as well. Especially during that year, I had some struggles with coaches, and I think, yeah. And I think that was a super big mind opener,
For sure.
And that's where I was like, all right, I got to prioritize my future. I want to be successful in business,
Right, yeah.
Not that you can't be successful out of a Providence or
Right,
any of
yeah,
the schools.
yeah.
You 100% can. I mean,
I just think that being at a school that like focuses on like
Correct.
entrepreneurship might make it a little bit easier.
Exactly, correct.
Right.
And I think a lot of kids in Division One are very focused on trying to get out of the school and go play in the MLS
Right,
or
yeah.
go play their dream league, you know? But I
Yeah.
think my focus is go play at a school,
Yeah.
play well there,
Yeah.
Make a lot of friends, connections, and
Right,
then
for sure.
use those connections and the education that I get and get myself a great job that will provide for me and my kids and my family as
Yeah,
I
no,
get older.
for sure. Yeah.
So
Gotta think about the future.
yeah, I
right?
got to think about the future. That's I think a big thing that kids forget about.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah. So
And so, yeah, I know that's all great. And I know that was a pretty long story, which is good. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, so you talked a little bit about how, like, the ID clinic was kind of like your first interaction with Babson, right?
Yeah.
And so would you say that ID clinics are a big thing for players who are looking to get recruited?
So that I think that's a question everyone asks, especially parents, because ID
Yeah.
clinics are very expensive.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So, I think the biggest thing is from an email you can tell. Like, I think if the school's inviting you to the ID clinic and they've seen you play,
Yeah.
I think why not? I
Yeah.
mean, one ID clinic isn't bad.
Right.
But they do get expensive.
Yeah.
And
they can rack up.
they can rack up. I mean, I've gone to a lot. Like I went to a Duke one,
Yeah.
which I spent a lot of money on, and that didn't work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tough question because I think it just depends on what does the coach view you. You know,
Right, yeah.
Have you been talking to the school for this X amount of time? Have they been interested in you? Or are they looking to provide you with an offer? Or they just want to come see you?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm lucky because I've been able to go to a lot of ID clinics.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I think that's more for like the player to consider and be like,
Yeah.
is it worth spending this X amount of money?
Yeah. How's the investment going to be? What's the ROI, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, I know you've been playing a little bit of wing. So, did you get recruited to Babson for a right back or a wing?
So they actually want to play me up top at right wing.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So,
So let me quickly ask my question. So I was just gonna ask. So I mean, you've been playing right back mostly for a lot of your life, right? And so
Correct.
I guess my original question was like, to be the best right back, what advice would you give to right backs? But I mean, or for like right wings, what would you?
Yeah, so I
advice
think
would you give?
I'd lean more with the right backs because I'm
yeah.
more of a defender than I am a winger.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest piece of advice is just compete. I think a lot of players nowadays all have technical ability, but
Yeah.
a lot of players lack the ability to compete.
Okay.
Now in those last 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Compete.
So just being a dog, right?
Being a dog, exactly.
Yeah,
Running
yeah.
up and down the line, supporting the team.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing a lot of players lose out on. But
Yeah. I mean, because also, like, I mean, I played with you for a while, and I know
Yeah.
that, like, one of your greatest attributes was just you just, like, were always working, man. Like,
Yeah.
literally pushing
Thank
through
you.
whatever it was. Literally whatever it was. So,
It's the espressos.
yeah.
Yeah. The 5-hour energies.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite drills? I mean, you talked about you did stuff with Shari, and, like, I guess, like, individually or in the gym. What are some of your favorite drills or exercises to be doing?
Yeah, I think my favorite drills are definitely for sure like the 1v1s, the 2v2s, the 3v3s.
Yeah.
I think those are a lot of fun, especially with your teammates.
Yeah,
Get a little competition
Yeah,
going.
I know for sure. Are you talking about the ones like, oh, you drive, take a shot, and then like,
And then
okay,
and then it's all 2v1 and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
3v2.
yeah, yeah.
Correct. So I think alongside that, another fun drill is for sure like finishing competitions.
For sure, yeah,
You got two teams, and then when losers got to do sprints or
Yeah.
pick up the cones
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So definitely drills like that.
Okay, and then how about in the gym? Do you
In the
have
gym?
like, exercises that you would recommend?
Not really. I don't really hit the gym.
Okay, no, that's fair.
No, I'm not gonna lie. But
No,
I should. I
that's
should
so
soon.
fair. And then how about like individualized drills? Like if you were just to like go to the field by yourself, what would you do?
Yeah, I think what I would do personally is
Yeah.
just dribbling through cones and finishing.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're working on both, especially with the weak foot as well,
Mm-hmm.
or just honestly hitting a ball off of a wall or
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
bouncer and then turning and finishing, working on your first touch.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a big thing as well. So
No, totally.
Yeah.
And also I remember like, cause I was with Alex when we did like the Shari stuff.
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of like the circuits, like the big
Yeah, the
circuits, so
circuits.
like dribble through stuff, make passes.
Correct,
And so
correct.
do you recommend those?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's how we started off every session with
Yeah.
Shari.
Yeah, I know.
He'd line up like maybe 50, 60 cones. It was
Yeah.
something nuts.
And I was exhausted.
Yeah, and
after
it was
those,
all
yeah.
right foot, all
Yeah.
left foot, both feet, and then you just go and shoot. And if it's not a good shot, he yells at you.
Yeah.
And
No,
then-
yeah.
So those are definitely drills I recommend to do.
And it makes you a lot better, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with the ball and stuff like that.
And so obviously Shari is one of your biggest mentors. Do you have any other mentors or?
Yeah, I think
always tough
definitely
out.
along the way, I've met a lot of great coaches.
Yeah.
Shari definitely being my biggest one.
Yeah.
Just because of the bond that I have with him and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
connection I have with his family as well, especially on and off the field, the way he
Yeah.
is as a coach.
Yeah.
But
And in person, man.
yeah, and in person, like he's like a 5-year-old kid. When you go out with him, we're taking care of him, but on the field, he's punching you, he's slapping you, makes you into a great person and great player.
Right, yeah.
I think another coach that I really liked was Rolo. Rolo was my old coach last year.
Yeah.
Tough as nails sometimes.
Yeah.
But he let you play a lot, which I really liked, and he's super encouraging.
Yeah, he was.
And he knows as a coach when a player's down, and he knows how to lift them up. He knows how to get competitive with players.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely a guy that I look up to as well, especially during hard times, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely Rolo.
No, I mean that's all great. And I mean obviously you're not like the biggest player.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
It's true.
I don't think you're the biggest player.
No,
and
I'm
so,
tiny.
Yeah, and so like I mean obviously
Yeah.
when I was growing up I wasn't like that big either. And so do you have any advice for players who are maybe smaller, any things that they can do to kind of stand out?
Yeah, no, 100%. Once again, I think it just goes back to compete. I'm pretty small. I'm like 5'6" on a good day compared to other players that I'm playing against,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
playing right back. I mean, you're going against some big guys. I think it's just putting your full body to work. Hit the guy on the first play, you know, put him on the ground, show him that,
Yeah.
you know, like get him scared, you know?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big thing as well.
No, for sure. Yeah, being able to like really use your body to your advantage, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And so me and Rapo, we kind of were at Res for how many years was it? 3 years every year together?
Yeah,
I
like
guess?
2-3 years, something
2-3
like that.
years,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously, I was with you during this, so that's
Yeah.
why I feel like I can bring this up.
Yeah,
But, like,
no, 100%.
But there were times where we didn't play that much. you
Yeah,
know?
no, 100%. Yeah, on that bench.
Yeah, we sat on that bench for a while, and so do you have any
Yeah.
advice for players who like can you kind of talk about how your experience was, and do you have any advice for players who maybe aren't getting as many minutes as
Yeah,
they
for
want to
sure.
be getting?
So I think that's definitely a big thing, especially throughout my U17 year.
Yeah.
So I came back from an injury. I was out for maybe like 5, 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
And then I came back. My U15 year, I think I started every game and played every 90. I didn't come off the field. And then when I came back, I was sitting on the bench or not getting rostered, you know? So
Me and you were saying
yeah, Hayes and I, correction. So I think that's definitely a mind game for sure. How to overcome that is just don't let it get to your head, you know?
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I let it get to my head sometimes and it just
Yeah.
killed my week or killed my day. But I think you just, as long as you know you're proving it on the field, and just be honest with yourself, then that's how you can, you know, overcome that.
For sure.
I think my biggest thing was I knew I was working hard. The numbers proved it with the vest on the back.
vest,
And sometimes it's not all about the game. It's about opinions.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing in youth soccer as well. Very politicized.
Yeah.
But to bounce off that, I think just playing hard.
No, for sure.
And
And actually, can I talk a little bit more about that? Just like maybe if like you feel like you don't have a coach that like really believes in you, what would you say? What would you kind of say about that?
put in the work on your own, and
Yep.
at the end of the day, someone will find you
Yep.
that you like. I think that was the biggest thing with Babson, to go back to that.
Yep.
Especially during that time, like wasn't getting a lot of minutes.
Yep.
But the minutes that I did, they made the time to come watch me and
Yep,
watch
yep.
the film, and they realized, okay, this kid's a pretty good player out of
Right,
our eyes,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So someone will find you at the end of the day,
for
and someone who cares for you and someone that wants you to do well, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, that's all great, man. And like setbacks really, you can look at them at like two ways. Like one, pain can be a fucking, where am I going with this? No, I figure I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm trying to say like setbacks can either like keep you down and make you want to cry and quit, or you can be like, you know what, let me get
Use
my
it
ass
to your
out of
advantage,
this.
correct.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Let me use
yeah.
this as a fire, right?
yeah.
And and so I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, like in the car when you're driving, but like I mean obviously you had like a little injury, right? And so like the heart thing that kind of kept you out for a while.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think it was 2 years now.
Yeah.
2 years
really?
ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now. It was actually when I started to get back into playing.
Yeah.
But so in I think of October of my first U17 year.
Yeah.
After our Orlando game. So basically I have really bad nose issues, breathing.
Yeah.
And I went in for surgery, and I came out, and my blood pressure was at like 220, 230, which is not normal at all.
Yeah.
Especially for a young kid who, all of us, work out. We're all healthy.
Who exercises like a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So they ended up doing an echo, and they found out that first my heart rhythm is upside down. So, but that's completely normal for me. Then they also found that a wall had built up in my heart, which affected the blood flow through my heart. So literally I was in the hospital for like a week, and as I kind of sobered up off the oxycodone and all the drugs and stuff, they told me that I wouldn't be able to play soccer. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I got a nose surgery. What does that have to do with soccer?
Yeah.
Like, maybe a week, sure. But, like, I would be back in 2 days. It was nothing major.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, no, you're out for a while. I was like, what are you talking about? Then they had told me what had happened. And I was in and out of children's for months. Testing and blood work and stuff like that. And also it's kind of scary, too, because they were like... It's funny, I had the option to schedule my surgery in October or January. Yeah. And they had found out that if I hadn't gone in like 2 weeks, and like in that 2 weeks, I would have dropped dead on the field because of the exercise and my heart. Yeah. So that was definitely scary.
No, for sure.
But,
for sure.
And at that time too, you had snapped your leg in half.
Yeah.
So I remember calling Hayes and I was like, dude, I'm out of soccer. Oh my God. Yeah. And I was like,
and we were both
I was like, what am I supposed to do? And they were like, you can't ride a bike. You can't sprint. Yeah. I was like, how am I going to stay in shape? I'm going to get huge. I'm going to get like a meatball. I eat so much. And I eat terribly. So, no, that was definitely an eye opener. No. And then for the first time in my life, I had like free time, you know?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like we were out every weekend we were traveling and stuff like that, which was definitely a lot of fun. It was a good little break. Yeah. So I was in and out of testing for that. And then I was supposed to go back in around June of, let's say it was like this year. And I was like, no, Dad, I have a feeling. Let's go get tested now. Yeah. I have a feeling that it's gone. I don't know why. I just had a gut feeling.
Did your heart feel like?
No, I had no like pain in my chest, nothing. So my dad's like, "Are you sure?" Then he called the cardiologist, and the cardiologist was like, nothing's gonna change. There's no point. So I was like, "No, I want to go in." So my dad's like, "All right, we'll go in." I go in. Basically, more of the story, I'm back to normal. Wow. But they have me on Lisinopril, which I have to take for the rest of my life. Super small pill, like 5 milligrams. Okay. And so I'm basically just on that, and then I go in for every 6-month checkups, and then, but what sucked was going back into playing just because I had been out for so long, and getting back in shape was misery. I mean, throwback to the Toronto game that we had. Yeah. I had been put in like my second day back. Yeah. And I was so out of shape, and I was just dying. Oh,
did you? Is this a story where like the guy plays the through ball and it's like you and like the gap?
Yes, that was awful. And then also like. I was on the whole other weak side. My body was like shivering because my muscles haven't moved like that in like 7 months. Yeah. So that was definitely all.
How did you kind of build up your fitness, build up your strength, build up your soccer ability back from kind of not being able to play for 6 months, not being able to train, not being able to work out, and then being till back where you are, getting recruited,
Yeah. So obviously I'll bring up recruiting real quick. Yeah. Like that was awful for me. That was my junior year. I'm sorry, my sophomore year. Yep. And I feel like that's one of your most important years because schools are looking for you, They have just finished up their recent class. Yeah. And so I'd missed that. So I felt like I was in a rush for recruiting. Yeah. Let's go. I need to email as many schools as I can so they can come watch me. Yeah. I was eager to get back on the field, especially that we had Maryland coming up that year. Yeah. So I had been going to TB12 every day. Okay, yeah. And getting back to training slowly. Actually, my first session, I went full session, and then our trainer got mad because they're like, no, you need to build your way back up. And I was like, okay. So I was doing TB12, a lot of recovery stuff, and then I'm slowly building my way back up. So that took about, I think, like 3-4 months to get me back into shape. And then, so.
That's all great. No, I definitely emphasize like building back slowly. That's really important. Being able to like
for sure.
Not just. I mean, you just said like you hopped back into it, but I've been injured, so I know like going slowly is really important.
Super important. You want to just then you just hurt yourself more if you don't. So that's a really big thing. Yeah.
And so I think we'll kind of lighten the mood a little bit. But so what are some of your favorite soccer moments?
Favorite soccer moments? I think first one, definitely semifinals. That whole playoff run.
Oh, yeah.
That was so much fun because we had built so much chemistry over the years.
Right, yeah, for sure.
That, it's the first MLS-Next Cup that year, and we had made it so far. Unfortunately, we lost in the semis to Philly.
I mean, that was a good Philly team.
Yeah, that was a very good Philly team. Darbo and those guys. Yeah. But that was definitely a top moment. I think the Shari training, definitely another top moment for sure. But, yeah, many more to come, hopefully.
No, inshallah.
Yeah.
And so what do you think is, I think we'll kind of start wrapping up now.
Yeah.
But what do you think are the best piece of advice that you've received?
I think keep pushing when times are low, obviously.
Yeah.
And know your worth, I think, is the biggest thing as well.
Yep.
Especially when you're going through hard times with coaches.
For sure.
And just don't cheat yourself. Like, work to the extreme,
Yeah.
And, yeah. I think those are
I like
the
that.
best pieces of advice I've ever gotten. So,
yeah. And so what advice, if you could leave the people watching this with one thing, what would you leave them with? One piece of advice that you leave them with.
Don't get Hayes' haircut.
Don't say that. Don't say it.
I was going to do it get edited out.
No, I'll keep it in. All
right.
Is that really the advice you want to leave?
No.
Okay.
I think the biggest piece of advice is just, I think, honestly, work hard.
Yeah.
Like, train like you play. I mean, a lot of coaches say that. And just have a goal, And once you reach that goal, set another one. Yeah.
I love that. And so last thing is, so what's next for you? So what are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully we go back to back to back.
Yeah.
For the Revs.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy. But after that, I think just Babson, I'm looking to be the best player on the field and just train to be there. And, so, yeah, I'm just looking forward to that. Honestly, I've been texting DeVito and Tim, and I'm just eager to go play there and meet all the guys and get the chemistry down. And
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
thank you so much, Alex, for being on the
podcast.
pod, bro.
Hayes, always a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Real quick, I want to leave you guys with this. So you can go on our website, BenzBoots.com, pick up any pair of cleats. I mean, Alex, I think you sold a pair on a website.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So it's quick money. It's really quick money, guys. If you want to make money and you're a soccer player, there really is no other way. Just sell your cleats and you can make some bank. Thank you. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.